Hey, I'm Zach Vokey, and this is the Dunham. This guitar was built from the ground up to be responsive, deeply customizable, and very expressive. Each Ultra is a unique, high-spec, one-of-one model, built specifically with the player's vision in mind, with their input, their play style, and their creative direction at the core of every decision that went into building one of these guitars. 10 Dunham Ultras, 10 unique guitars that are all proof points for what this platform is capable of. I had been refining and redesigning and reworking design on this guitar platform for years. It's been literal years that I have been through the process of developing and designing this thing. I knew in order to push it forward, I needed real world input from other guitar players. I reached out to a group of players that I respected deeply, people who had opinions, people had their own style directions, and people who really would all build something truly unique. And ultimately, this wasn't about endorsement, but it was really putting myself through some of the hardest work I've ever done in my life. In my desire to grow the Dunham into something that was greater than anything I had done before, these 10 people helped push the boundaries of what I even thought this thing could do. So when I started this entire process, right from the get-go, my goal was to learn how to listen and how to take the desires that somebody had and convert that into a guitar. Some guys were pushing for ergonomic tweaks, some guys neck feel, some guys tone, some guys hardware, some guys aesthetic, but every single guy was pushing for something that I had yet done. Every single one of those challenges, however, pushed me to refine and make better every corner of these guitars. That entire development process is what created the Ultra. And I think all this matters because it wasn't built in like a vacuum. They're built to order, and there is no off-the-shelf parts just sitting in my shop. Every single guitar is built specifically for the client. The Dunham Ultra Series isn't about copying anybody else's idea. It's about finding something that is specifically tailored to you. I started for the first time developing a three-dimensional model that was to scale, that would allow me to get the concept across prior to building. The development of a 3D model, most people would hire that out or find somebody who is gifted in that area, but for some reason I felt possessed to figure it out myself. So I did. The learning curve was really steep and really difficult, and there was a lot of YouTube involved to figure out how to do it, but I was able to develop a complete 3D model that was to scale, that would allow me to communicate each prototype and each design prior to production. I knew that if I wanted to raise the quality and consistency of my work, I needed to be able to demonstrate the design and the concept that we were coming up with in real time. And so it was really important to me that I was able to develop this 3D model that I could customize on the fly for each client. It's become part of the process that everybody that embarks on getting one of these guitars built gets a full 3D browser-based version shared with them that you can update in real time with your own notes and your own highlights that will show up on my end in a really streamlined way so that every detail and every concern that you may have is addressed. Once that base model was dialed in and figured out, I was able to send each ambassador an in-depth questionnaire. Once the questionnaire was complete, I was able to sift through all of that information and essentially talk through what decisions needed to be made so that the intention of the choice was determined not through simply what looked the best, but what the purpose of that particular component is. And I will, for every build, share at least one feature that demonstrates this idea. My goal always is to ensure that the exact desires of the client are met, and they're met through informed decision making. I think that in the world today, there is no shortage of cool custom guitars and different awesome builders who are building those custom guitars, but I don't think a lot of people understand why it is they're choosing what they're choosing for their build. They may have seen somebody else do it, and that could be a good enough reason to include it, but I think that being able to look at things a little bit more through a vetting process and the entire design phase as a whole allows you to get an instrument that is actually thought through, as opposed to check marks on a box and specs on a sheet that you don't really know how it's going to go until you get that guitar in your hands. If you're able to produce a virtual model of the thing that you're actually going to build somebody, it actually gives more room for people to customize to a point that they feel like they can almost reach out and touch the thing that they're building. And so really, that just gave me a super deep understanding of the geometry of these guitars, why certain components works in a 3D space before I even have to purchase the component. It allows me to really get an understanding of what's required to do the thing that I'm being asked to do. So every client got access to a browser-based 3D model that made it feel like they could literally reach out and touch it. I've since streamlined that even further and made it so that these updates happen in real time and so that there's milestones for different iterations. I've also provided for renderings to happen so that there's high-def pictures, digital pictures of each build before we even start making sawdust fly. Neck profiles, finish ideas, different components, those things are all tweakable inside of the software that allows me to demonstrate what you're asking me to do and give people a really good idea of what it is that they're going to get. One of the cool things that comes from that level of interaction is it creates trust between me and the person who is commissioning me to build them a guitar. It develops a certain level of relationship where people feel like they're being heard, that they are being understood, they feel there's a commitment to their ideas. Really, it wasn't something that I realized was going to happen, but I ended up making amazing friendships through building these. And these are going all over North America, and I have not met the majority of these people in real life ever. That level of trust, it gives me the confidence to go places that I've never gone with this platform before. We're going to see that these guitars, they really do speak for themselves. Attention to detail, the handcraftedness of each build, the custom features that each one carries, and essentially what makes them different one to another. It's really cool.